Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning back in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Layla, the Lenormand reader, and I use the amazing Lenormand deck. Have a look at the links that I have for you so you can discover and explore and master this beautiful deck. Welcome to a new weekly reading. We've got the beautiful Blink of an Eye deck today, and we are doing a 3x2. Let's go ahead and start with you, Aries, and see what is ahead for you this week. Okay, Aries, here is your 3x2. It's looking quite exciting. There's a few different things going on, and there are some challenging energies with the Whip and Scythe. But what stands out is the Fish and Clover in the middle, and these are two very bright cards that bring a lot of success and opportunity with your money, your work, and business. The Fish tends to be the card of money, so it tends to be a prosperity card, and it is also a bit broader than that. It's great for work, business, and usually financial independence. So a very different energy from the other things going on here. Let's look at the corner cards. With the first pair, we have the Whip and Dog. And this is usually a disagreement with someone. And we'll also see that with the Scythe and Dog on the right-hand side column, there's probably going to be a separation. The Scythe also pairs with the Letter, and this is some breaking news, some shocking news, or news that suddenly comes through. So the news seems to be connected with this difficulty, the challenge that comes up with this person, and probably it's also part of what leads to a parting. I do think this is a parting here with the Scythe and Dog. The Scythe is pretty sharp and pretty final most of the time. Now the Whip with the Fish and Scythe, that's quite an interesting pair, triplet. It points to challenges with finances, and with the Scythe there can be some expenses and challenges with regards to your finances that you didn't expect. Now it's really nice to see the Clover with the Fish because it's going to help you overcome this or recover to some extent. I have to wonder, Aries, how much this person is connected with this challenge that we see with your finances, or maybe it's in your work in general. So this person can be a colleague or a partner or someone else like that. Maybe a customer that you have to turn down. That's also possible. The Letter with the Clover and Dog, on the other hand, is very different. It is very bright. It brings wonderful news and some wonderful opportunity with this person. So because they're so different, I think these are different people in different lines. And this is a question I get sometimes on the courses. If the Dog card, woman, man, or other people card represent always the same person in the different lines of a tableau style layout. And the answer is no. And I think in this sense, it's pretty clear. It looks like you've got an opportunity that's better than another, and this gives you a chance to exit or to make a choice where you turn down someone or something in favor of a better opportunity. The Whip and Letter is also a bit challenging because the Whip is generally challenging, and it brings this difficult news that we saw with the Scythe. I have to say though, Aries, that strictly speaking, the Letter and Scythe are not necessarily challenging, but because of the Whip, they probably are. So we see this here as well. We suggested a few times already that the Fish and Clover is luck with money. The Scythe with Dog, I also suggested earlier that it can point to a break with someone. So you could be separating from someone or turning down an offer or an option in favor of a better one. Now, the Whip with the Clover and Scythe is a very good sign that you ought to make a break, Aries. You need to get out of something that is causing you pain or that is compromising your security or causing you troubles in other ways. So the Clover is very good with giving you the sign. The Letter, Fish, and Dog certainly confirms what we saw in the bottom row, some very good news, and probably another opportunity with this Dog, which can be a person in any context. It could be you yourself getting an opportunity, it could be a new customer, a new collaboration with someone, or someone who supports you with this opportunity. So these are some really nice cards, Aries, despite the Whip and Scythe. In fact, the Whip and Scythe can come, even though they're kind of heavy and challenging, they do have a releasing effect on your situation, and they can help you break through and out of a situation into a better one. And like I said, I think the Fish is an indicator of the area here. It tends to be more about your work and money. But like all Lenormand cards, they are flexible and they can be interpreted for any context. That's what I call correspondences. So in terms of a personal relationship, just to change themes, there is a similar suggestion here where there can be a disagreement with someone and a better understanding with someone else. Because of the strong difference between the whip scythe on the one hand and the rest of the cards on the other hand, it does seem to me that it could be two different people here. Now, supposing it's not, I think that you will still make a decision to release yourself from a certain connection in favor of a better opportunity, whether that involves a person directly or not. So cut your losses, get out of challenges, protect your resources, your money, your work, and embrace an opportunity that's going to support you with prioritizing that. The same goes for relationships, like prioritize the supportive relationships. Let me know what you make of this, Aries. A really prosperous week, I hope. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Very best of luck. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Taurus. Welcome to your weekly reading. Let's draw your 3x2 with this lovely deck and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Taurus, these are some powerful cards. We're definitely seeing a separation very clearly coming through the ring and scythe. This is the combination of divorce. It doesn't get more clear with Lenormand. This is the type of a classic straightforward Lenormand speak. And we also have the road on the right hand side of the layout, which is usually the later parts of a reading, and the road is very much about change. Now what's really nice here is that we have the beautiful key, and the key is an all-around success card. The rest of the cards are more or less neutral. So looking at the letter and key, this is definitely some positive feedback, the good news you've been waiting for, the green light, the okay to go ahead. So very lovely news here, and it's probably going to be what triggers this change. The ring and road can be a continuation of a relationship, but because of the scythe and the road by itself in general tends to be a parting. And the reason is that even though it can be coming and going or both, when it comes to relationships, the road doesn't like to be tied down. It likes its freedom, so it tends to tug in a slightly opposite direction to the ring. So when we see it with the ring, there can be a change of commitments, there can be a parting and a redirection in what you're doing and what you're committing yourself to. Now, of course, the ring can be a card of relationships, as in one-on-one, a personal relationship. And this can mean that there's a parting and a separation from this person. Again, the letter and key is probably what gives you the okay or the confidence and the green light to move ahead with this. The letter with the lily and road, this can be some official news or paperwork. It can be something like a formal agreement. And this is probably also building onto the letter and key that gives you the okay to move ahead. The lily is also a card of life path and career. So it tends to be a bit bigger, a bit broader and longer term than, say, your day-to-day job or activities. So it's likely that you are redirecting yourself in a bigger way, and starting this week, Taurus, you have the opportunity to make some deeper changes to your path and to your direction, which is probably going to be exciting. Now, the ring and scythe and then the key is quite a clear message. This is a confirmation that you ought to break away or break off your current involvement and engage in this new opportunity and in this change. The letter and ring is very much a contract. So again, this could be the reason why you're able to make changes. You get a new opportunity, so you get out of your current one. The lily and scythe is very much a lifestyle change. It can also be disruptive. I have to say that maybe your lifestyle, you know, the status quo in your sort of life situation is going to be disrupted, so that you can make these changes as you make these changes, and so that you can embrace this new opportunity. The road and key is lovely though, Taurus, because it is a confirmation that you're headed in the right direction. This is giving you a signal that the changes that you're making, especially ones that align with your bigger goals and the bigger vision of your life, are the right ones to pursue right now. It could take a bit of effort to break off, or it can come a bit suddenly, and it is probably going to rock your boat in general, but it seems to be the right thing to do. Now, the letter with the scythe and road is adding to what we already suggested, the road and scythe is very much a change of direction. So again, that disruption that we're seeing, and the letter, like we said, gives you the stimulus or the input in order to do that. The ring with the lily and key suggests a much better commitment here, and it's probably going to be one over the longer term. It is also a message, Taurus, that you ought to prioritize your life goals. So this can be an opportunity to pursue something that is more meaningful to you, that is more authentic to you, and we definitely see an encouraging message here to make a break, to make that change, and to embrace this new direction. Really nice cards. My feeling, Taurus, is that this is more about your career, your life goals, work-related or not, and not so much personal relationships. But if it is a personal relationship, then the cards remain encouraging and encourage you to break off from a relationship in order to grow and to pursue something that is more aligned with you. So quite a transition this week. Let me know how it goes, Taurus. I certainly hope this is aligned with your goals and you're ready to enjoy what's ahead. Thank you very much for tuning in. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Gemini, let's get into your weekly reading. Let's draw your 3x2 and see what is in store for you. Okay, Gemini, here is an interesting 3x2. It's looking quite busy and there could be a lot going on here. We have like a lot of different cards. We have a person card, we have change cards, we have the fox and clouds, which are a little bit challenging, but we also have the beautiful star, which is all around success and healing, and the anchor, which is really solid. So let's weave these lines. Makes sense to build it from the ground up. The stork and man can be changes with a person. And these can be any kind of change, really. The thing about the clouds and man next to each other on the right hand side is that there can be some differences that come up. Maybe this person is taking an action that rocks your boat or that causes confusion, and it could be like a more negative aspect of the week. On the other hand, the goal in clouds is very clear in telling you that you shouldn't hesitate, you shouldn't wobble. So what the feeling I'm getting here, Gemini, is that someone could possibly cause you to question your confidence or to doubt about something, but the anchor is very clear in telling you to have confidence in yourself. If this means creating better boundaries, then do that, but also clear things up in your mind as well. So sometimes when people rock our boat like this or create doubt, it's because there is something inside us that is prone to that, and the person highlights it. This is like the mirror thing in life. So use this as an opportunity to see where you're not clear, where you're not solid, and resolve that. Now, the stork with the star and clouds is very beautiful, mainly because of the beautiful star. This is a very powerfully positive card, and even though the clouds is a bit challenging, it is still overall positive. So there can be an opportunity or a wish that materializes for you, and something that you hope comes to pass. And the thing about the clouds, especially on the right hand side after the star, is that again, it could be something that still causes a bit of doubt and confusion. Maybe it can cause a bit of anxiety, but still, I think you should have a really strong sense of confidence in yourself, Gemini. Work on this week. The anchor with the fox and man, this can mean a few different things. The fox can be a difficult card when it comes to people. It tends to represent someone who is deceptive and selfish, and with the clouds on top of the man, it's probably that as well. At the same time, we do have a lovely diagonal here, so I do think everything resolves at the end of the day. Still, it's a good idea, Gemini, to have some solid boundaries with this person. The anchor is very good with that. And also with the fox, it's a message to have faith in yourself and to put yourself first, especially with the anchor. So I'm also feeling that maybe this person is looking to compromise, or to have you compromise, or to maybe change things. And I'm not so sure you want to do this, Gemini. So think things through for sure, but it seems to me that the changes that this person is proposing are not going to be aligned with you. At least not all of them. So if something doesn't align with you, then just say no and stand your ground and have confidence in yourself. Another way we can read this line is in terms of a job, because the fox is a job card. It is often associated with employment, discipline and routine and projects and things like that. And with the anchor and man, and especially since we have the star on top of the fox, you could get a customer or a project or a job, and this person could be someone who helps you do that. In this context, Gemini, I feel that the clouds and man can suggest the need to clarify certain expectations. The clouds is a card that suggests a lack of clarity. It brings confusion. So it's very important that you clarify things in order to manage the expectations. So be on top of all of it. The stork with the fox and clouds, again, this is this idea of something or someone rocking your boat. This is a bit of a more negative reading because both fox and clouds are challenging. So there can be something deceptive or an issue that comes up. And I think it's tied to this person making changes or coming up with an opportunity that sort of upsets your status quo a little bit. On the flip side, we have the beautiful anchor, star, and man, and this points to a very supportive connection and wish materializing. So again, in the context seems to be more work related because of the fox, but it can be in other contexts. It does seem like there's an opportunity that comes up. And the thing about the clouds is that maybe you're not entirely ready for it and you're not sure what to expect. So again, working through the details and clarifying any doubts. And hopefully this is a lovely opportunity overall. Now, if we were to read these cards as a relationship, Gemini, then I think I would ask for a bit more caution on your part. That's because the fox is not so great with people, and the clouds is also adding to this. Yes, we do have the star, which probably creates a sense of safety and an overall sense of protection, but we can't ignore the fox and clouds. So I would say if a relationship is picking up and things are moving forward with this person, move ahead with it and go with it. It's looking pretty good, but also prepare to clarify certain things or, to come on the same page with this person as you discover what they're about or what their relationship is about. One pair that I didn't look at yet is the stork and anchor, and this is quite a pair. This is definitely a combination that tells you to make changes, Gemini. They are quite opposite. The anchor is stuck and the stork is the opposite. So it is a time to make changes and to open up to something different. On this note, the anchor and clouds can mean a bit of stubbornness. So check in, Gemini, if you're being a bit overly protective or overly stubborn, and instead of exposing yourself to this opportunity, to this person, and see what comes out of it. So it's a good time for a bit of a change. Yes, it can be a bit maybe uncomfortable for you, but it does seem to have at least a really bright side. So give it a chance and see what comes out of it. Let me know in the comments what that was about. I'm really curious if this was work or a relationship. As always, I look forward to your thoughts. Thank you for tuning in, Gemini. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Cancer, let's get into your weekly reading. Let's draw your 3x2 and see what is ahead. Okay, Cancer, here is your weekly reading, and we're seeing the whip with the fish on the right hand side. This can be some problems with money. The earlier cards are mostly bright though, but taking it all together, I think you might need to make some adjustments, to say the least. Let's build this 3x2 from the ground up. First, we have the bird and fish, and this can be financial transactions, expenses, purchases, and things like that. And this would work well with the whip and fish because the whip is a card of challenges, and with the fish, it can point to an expense and maybe a big one. So you could be overspending a little bit this week. So if this is planned, totally fine, but if it's not, then it's a good idea, Cancer, to get things under control before they get out of control. We have the moon and whip, and this is quite an interesting pair because it brings out the dark side of the moon. I have to wonder here, Cancer, if we're looking at some impulses to purchase something or to use money in certain ways. It could be highlighting this aspect. So this could be an opportunity to check in with yourself. Another way actually to look at the moon and whip is an offer. And with the whip, it's a very good idea to turn down the offer, which would work well with the fish because it can be something that proves to be expensive and not suited for you. So maybe this is a week to say no to an offer or to certain purchases. Cancer, think about that. The bird with the road and whip is definitely going down the wrong path. So the road and whip is a challenging path, a bumpy road to say the least, and a more faithful to the whip, it would be the wrong turn. The bird earlier can point to trips and places that you go to, usually shorter trips, and you could feel like you're a little bit all over the place, Cancer, maybe overspending again, back to this theme, or having to attend to a few things that could cause these expenses to build up. And it is also a line that suggests that you're pretty busy, you have a lot to do, a lot of maybe errands to run and things like that, and that could be part of the stress as well. The bottom row is a very lovely line. It is very beautiful for success, all around success and prosperity. We have the moon, tree, and fish. So these are definitely cards of abundance and well-being. And with the moon and tree, there's this beautiful unfolding. So it's really nice to see this line in contrast with the other cards that we saw, because it tells us, Cancer, that if you're willing to rectify things and if you're willing to say no and to prioritize and to do what you need to do, you can create a very positive foundation for yourself. At the same time, this is a great line for a job or an opportunity or a promotion or some kind of growth in any area of your life. And maybe part of this growth is some sacrifice, Cancer, or some adjustments, and also turning down other opportunities. So again, this element of priority can come through, as we said, with the expenses, trying to be on top of things. The bird and moon is probably about negotiating this offer, or at least having a conversation or asking questions to make sure that you're clear about everything, whether this is an offer or what you need to do to be on top of your finances and your business in general. You need to have that conversation. The road and tree is definitely a path that is unfolding, and I would say here, Cancer, especially in view of the contrasting whip and fish at the end of the lines, is that don't lose focus of your priorities and don't lose track of where you're heading. So the whip and fish here can come as a bit of a shake-up, a bit of a wake-up call of sorts to remind you not to lose track of your goals. Don't be distracted by things that could compromise your security or compromise your sense of stability and prosperity. Again, if this means saying no, do that. If you do end up overspending or engaging in something that isn't supportive and costs you in some way or another, adjust as best as you can and remember to refocus on your goals. The bird with the tree and whip is something, like I just said, something that's going to come and rock your boat. So again, remember to stay rooted in your strong tree. The moon, road, and fish, on the other hand, is very lovely for this path of prosperity that you can definitely put yourself on, or maybe that you are already on. And again, this can be an offer, a positive offer. But again, I want you to evaluate everything carefully and to make sure that it aligns with your path, with your goal, and it's not going to compromise your situation. In general, I think the cards are clearly geared towards the practical side of your life, Cancer, your work, your money, your business, your errands, your responsibilities, and your sense of security. So focus on this, get rid of distractions, and if there is a challenge, tackle it. And if you need to say no to something in order to protect your safety and security, then do that. Evaluate everything carefully. Let me know what you make of these cards. I certainly think they have a very beautiful angle here. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Very best of luck with the week, Cancer. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Leo, let's get into your weekly reading. Let's draw your 3x2 and see what is ahead for you. Okay, Leo, here is your 3x2, and we have some really pretty cards. In fact, most of the cards are pretty. We just have the Whip, which is a challenging card, but it is on the left-hand side of the layout, and it tells us that the rest of the cards will help you overcome the challenges of the Whip. So this is not someone or something to give up on. The challenge comes up, there's an issue that comes up, but if you stick with it, you'll be able to resolve it. So the Star and Rider is some very good news. It is also a healing combination, and it can mean someone who is very helpful. It is also someone you're able to move forward with. Now, the contrast is with the Whip and Ring, and this clearly points to a challenge in a relationship. It can even suggest a break-off. Now, that is a possible scenario, but because of the rest of the cards, I don't think it's the more likely one. Let's leave it to the end. The Star with the Anchor and Ring is a very clear message of sticking with a relationship, and it is a very positive relationship. So it's not about putting up with a relationship, it is about staying in this secure and supportive connection. The Anchor and Ring is very strong, and the Star is a healing, all-around happy card. So very beautiful cards for a relationship, and also for a commitment or something that you're involved with more generally. Now, the Whip, Clover, and Rider is also a very welcome message, specifically because of the order of the cards, in addition to the beautiful Clover and Rider. So like we said, we have the Whip on the earlier side of the layout, and so the Clover and Rider is going to help you overcome this. So don't dramatize, don't over-dramatize the situation. Don't feel like it's overwhelming, that it cannot be solved. It can be solved. It will be solved. Just stick with it and see how you overcome it. And also, Leo, the Clover with challenging cards, I often take to mean a blessing in disguise. So this could be an opportunity to turn things around for the better. The Star and Whip is helpful here because the Star helps with the healing. Now, the Whip is challenging, but we'll have additional cards to support the Star and overcome the Whip. The Anchor and Clover is a clear message of sticking with it. Maybe at the moment you don't feel that you can, but I think you will, and you will quickly see that you've got what it takes to deal with it and stick with it. And here's the lovely Ring and Rider, which points to remaining in the connection, moving forward with it, and happily moving forward. The Rider is really good at taking things in stride and moving on and just pursuing its happy path. So these are really nice cards, Leo, that help you overcome any challenge that comes up. Stay in this, stick with it, keep your faith in it, and you'll see that you'll quickly overcome it and move forward in a positive way. The Star with the Clover and Ring is another beautiful message here. This is the brightest combination of your 3x2 because we have the Star and Clover together. And with the Ring, it clearly points to a very supportive relationship. The Whip, Anchor, and Rider is another very clear message. The Anchor in the face of the Whip tells you to stand your ground in the face of the problem here that comes up, and the Rider helps you move past it. So some really nice and clear cards, Leo, that tell us that you are going to overcome an issue and that you are going to stick with the current situation despite the issue. You're going to be able to resolve it. Now, I suggested that this was about a relationship because of the Ring, but the Ring is also a card of your involvement or a commitment. It doesn't have to be a person. The same idea applies, that something can come up in this involvement or commitment, but stick with it and you'll probably turn it around even for the better and move past it. So a lovely message. Now, I said earlier that the Whip and Ring can cause a break-off. Again, I don't think this is the more likely interpretation in this context in view of all of these lovely cards. But in case it is, for some of you Leos out there, in that case, the scenario that plays out is a change. Again, I'm not seeing change cards as such, but it would be implied. It would be pushing it a little bit. And that would mean that you have a much better situation coming through, a very supportive relationship. So this can mean a change, and it can mean removing yourself from people or involvements that are not good and sticking with those that are. Again, the change, I'm not really seeing. I think it's more about a situation that comes up within a relationship or commitment and sticking with it despite the challenge as you're able to move forward in this really positive way. Now, I have to say, Leo, that the context is flexible. It could be a personal relationship, it could be something else. We do not have a theme card that comes through here. So let me know in the comments where this played out for you. I look forward to your thoughts as always. Very best of luck with this. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Virgo, let's get into your 3x2 and let's see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Virgo, here is your 3x2, and we have a challenging pair, the snake and whip, at the end of the lines on the right-hand side of the layout. This is definitely a warning sign, and it is definitely a sign of moving away from something that is negative and toxic. What's interesting is the pretty bright cards earlier, especially thanks to the clover. The child is positive and these two are neutral. It seems that there's a new beginning. We have the tower and child, and together they often point to not only a new beginning, but a turning of the page, a letting go of a long-standing chapter. It is also a combination for forgiveness, and I'm bringing this up because of these two challenging cards here. So you might have to let go of someone or something that has proved to be, I would say, hopeless, and time to move on. Let's look at the corner cards. We have the Tower and Mouse. So this is clear about something that has been dragging and draining for a long time. And it's pretty clear that it's time to move on, which we see through the Child and Snake. And what's interesting about the Child and Snake is that it's very aligned with what's going on in the first pair of corner cards, because the Snake and Child suggest that you're moving on because of a disappointment. So it's not like a happy new beginning, it's more like a letting go, which works with the Tower and Mouse. Now the Tower with the Lily and Snake is similar, except with the Lily adds even more longevity to the Tower. They are both slow and long-term cards, and so we have here another indication that this could have been a major chapter that you're closing off at this point, Virgo. The Snake is also a card of secrecy, by the way. It is a card of silence, and it encourages you to stay, to keep things to yourself and to remain discreet. And so if you're going through this change, it's a good idea to keep it to yourself. I also have a feeling, Virgo, that you could be shedding skin and doing some inner work and reevaluating and making deeper changes in your life. So it can be a bit of like a deeper, maybe heavier energy this week, but there seems to be quite a lot of work happening, and probably on different layers, at different layers as well. The Child with the Clover and Mouse, this is a happy combination. Even though we have the mouse at the end, we have the beautiful Child in Clover. So this is another sign that you ought to move on, and you ought to make a change and move into this new beginning, Virgo. The thing about the mouse on the other side of this is that you're going to be in a transition for some time. So it's not like you're going to be able to turn the page, forget everything, and move on. It feels like you're going to still struggle a little bit as you transition, and it can feel a little bit heavy. But this is not to deter you. The Clover is here to tell you just go with this despite the difficulty or the negative feelings here. The Tower and Child, like I brought up earlier, is a new chapter, turning the page on the past, and probably a sense of forgiveness as well. The Lily and Clover is a beautiful message of a happy life situation. So this is great for healing, and I really encourage you, Virgo, to look forward to what's ahead. The Snake and Mouse, like I said, is challenging. This is some pretty negative and toxic energies here, and it sounds like you're gonna carry them for some time forward. It's okay, keep working on it. You know that this new beginning is meant to be, and it's going to be good for you, and you're processing the situation. What's interesting also is that we don't really see what the situation is about. We just see that it has been a long-standing one, maybe from the past. I can suggest, Virgo, that the Tower and Lily suggest your work-related environment. So it can be your work, your career, and these areas. So you could be making a change. making a deep change in your career, possibly because you feel that this hasn't been as fulfilling as you had wanted it to be, or maybe you've just given it your best and now you're ready to move on to something else. This area is possible. The Tower with the clover and snake is another message of a phase ahead that is meant to be. So again, letting go of the past is a good idea. Again, keep things under your hat if you need to. Virgo, it makes sense to during this transition, which seems to be a bit more sensitive. The Child with the lily and mouse is another similar meaning to the first diagonal. There's a new chapter, very clear, very similar to the Tower. And again, moving forward, it's like you struggle a little bit as you turn the page. So the new beginning is meant to be, but it's just that in the more immediate phases right after this change and this new beginning, Virgo, you sort of still carry a little bit the challenges that you have just gone through. The transition itself and the change itself could also be a bit difficult for you. It could be a bit heavy. It can feel a bit heavy. So that's why I feel that there's a bit of a deeper thing going on here, where maybe you're transforming in a deeper way, and these can be growing pains or, releasing pains and so on. So some deeper life work could be happening, Virgo, this week, but not without benefit. Let me know more about this if you're willing to share. This is sounding quite deep. Let me know if you resonate with this and what you feel these changes are about or are heading into, and what it is you're letting go. As always, I appreciate your feedback. Thank you for tuning in, Virgo. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Libra, let's get into your weekly reading. Let's see what is in store for you with this 3x2. Okay, Libra, here is your 3x2. Very interesting what's happening. We do have a couple of challenging cards. These are the Fox and Snake, and it's a good thing that they're on the left-hand side. But they come with the flowers and other things. And when I see either of these two cards, and definitely both of them, with the flowers, there can be something that seems to be nice and charming, but it's not. So this is a deceptive element. It has a nice shiny surface, but beneath there is something tricky and something that you need to be aware of. It can also represent a type of person, the type that is that pretends to be nice, but they're not, and they could be outright backstabbers. Now, I'm not seeing dramatic cards like that in the rest of the 3x2, but the Fox and Snake are definitely there to warn you against such people and such situations or invitations, offers, or whatever is coming your way. The Fox and Snake are also really good at asking you to be quiet. So be silent and be very discerning about who you share things with. Now, the Fox and Garden. The Garden is a card of the public, people, places, communities, environment, some kind of space. And certainly with the Fox, we could be getting here a warning about the types that are in this environment. We're going to see this in the bottom row as well. Now, another thing about the Fox is that it is a card of jobs, and with the Garden, it can represent a job. So you could get a job, or maybe you have a project, and that's what's in focus for you this week. The Snake and Bear is a warning combination. The Bear with a more toxic card like the Snake, or for example with the Whip, this can represent an enemy. Okay, so someone who's working against you. The thing about the Snake is that it's very quiet and discreet, so you're probably not going to be able to tell. So be careful about this space and this environment, because there could be some people working against you, Libra, and these cards are giving you a heads up. Now, the Bear is also a card of managers, and in a context like work, which works well with the Fox, you could be looking at authority or someone like a boss, or someone who has some kind of influence on your situation. And definitely with the Snake, Libra, you want to be careful with this person. Do not reveal anything, I would say, and also deal with them with calm and diplomacy. They're questionable, okay, so keep that in mind. Now, the Fox with the flowers and Bear. So this is where I was suggesting that there's a nice shiny surface, but beneath it, it's questionable. So be careful with that. It's a bit more toxic with the snake. And in the top row, we could actually be getting a more positive message, especially in relation to work, where you could get a job, an opportunity, a customer, or collaboration, or whatever it is you do at work or in your day-to-day activity. So this could be a creative opportunity. It could be a nice project, and it's worth looking into. But this doesn't mean that you drop the caution that is clearly highlighted by the fox and snake Libra. So just approach everything with balance, okay? The snake with the tower and garden, we're getting something similar here because both the tower and bear have to do with authority and bosses and, you know, people at that level. So again, we're seeing the same message here. Be careful and quiet and don't reveal stuff to this person. With the garden, you could have a meeting with this person. Maybe it's an interview, or maybe you're getting to know them or something. And a meeting is really likely. So it can be a job thing. It could be another situation. But the fox and snake, in all of the lines they're in, they encourage you to be cautious in the same way. Certainly the fox and snake, this is the more challenging pair, really highlighting this element of deception. The flowers and tower would have been really lovely without these. It's great for a sense of renewal and creativity, and also productivity, and possibly aspiring to a promotion or something like that, but they're great cards for success. And the bear and garden, like I said, with the garden and tower, it can be a meeting with someone in that position. So you could be in for an interview or a meeting or some, you know, that is relevant to your work. So this materializes this week, but we don't really see the outcome of this just yet, Libra. So keep in mind the fox and snake. Don't be quick to share. Don't be quick to say yes or no. You know, maintain a balanced situation, a balanced overall facade and face. And what's also good about these cards is that they encourage you to be nice, you know. So even if you're not feeling it, it's important to be diplomatic and tactful. You could be meeting some important people here. They could have some influence, if not now, later. So focus on that and keep things under your hat and meet with this person, you know, do your thing or do what you need to do, and then, you know, gather the information, how you feel about it, and things like that. The fox with the tower and bear, this is just another emphasis on this element of authority in your cards. And the snake, flowers, and garden is another emphasis on the fact that not everyone in this situation proves to be supportive or has your best interest at heart. So at least at this stage, Libra, be very discreet and don't reveal what you're up to, and just get a feel for what the situation and what these people are about. Now, I think these cards seem to me more about your work and your activity, you know, the more practical side of your life. And the interpretation that I covered is essentially that. But it can also be about personal relationships. You know, we have the garden, and this is often a card of, you know, networking and being with people. So even in a personal context, the cards are also, they also caution you about characters. I would say even more so, because the fox can be about jobs, but outside of jobs, it tends to reflect that questionable type supporting the already challenging snake. So again, it sounds like this week it's more about getting a feel for things, getting to know this person, be careful about what you say, to whom, don't reveal everything, and be aware that there can be some difficult people in this environment. So let me know what you make of this, Libra. I look forward to what context you feel they figured for you, if you're willing to share. Very best of luck with it. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello Scorpio, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's go ahead and deal out your 3x2 and see what is in store for you this week. Okay Scorpio, this is exciting. We have some Lovely relationships here, and you could be visiting someone. We have the dog, man, and ring, and all three cards are relationship cards. And then we have the ship and mountain. These could be travel cards, and all of them are neutral except for the key, which is outright positive. So it sounds like you're in for a trip, or going out to meet someone, or perhaps they're visiting, but it's definitely exciting in terms of a relationship. The dog and ring is quite a pair. It can mean a deep relationship that is growing out of a friendship. So in terms of personal relationships, this is quite supportive. If it's not a personal relationship or a love relationship, these are great cards for a committed connection or some kind of involvement that you're going to stick with. The key and ship is lovely for a trip. This is exciting. You could get the green light to go somewhere. You could travel, and you could find answers by traveling. Now, if it's not a big trip, it could be any sort of travel or going places. The ship is also a great card for ambition, and it's great for business and sales and things like that. So you could be doing really well in this regard as well. The dog with the ship and mountain and ship is a friend abroad, or you going somewhere, or they're coming somewhere. Now the mountain is sometimes I take it to mean sometimes the online world. But with the ship, I'm more inclined to think of physical travel. So it sounds like you could go somewhere, or someone could come, and there's an opportunity to connect. The key with the man and ring is a lovely relationship here. This is great. The key with the man, the key with the ring, the man and ring, these are all lovely cards for a wonderful relationship. This is personal, things are working out really well, and if it's not personal, this is looking like a very supportive collaboration and a lovely opportunity with this person. The dog and key is like the key and man. Here's some beautiful answers, or the green light, or support from someone. The man and mountain can mean that this person is abroad or in that location, and the ship and ring can again emphasize this idea of traveling to be with this person, or in fact moving forward together. So really engaging here and committing to this path, and pursuing the objectives of this or the relationship itself. So really nice cards. The dog with the man and ship, again, another suggestion of traveling with this person, or they're coming, you're going. Regardless, there seems to be a meeting, and the key, mountain and ring, points to this opportunity in this other location, or connecting with this person who is in another location. So anyway, we look at the cards, they're kind of airtight. They're consistently referring to the same thing. This is great for a relationship. Scorpio, the cards are really straightforward. They're also encouraging, and they focus you on this relationship or this opportunity. So go for it, Scorpio. If you can travel, that's lovely. If they can come, that's lovely. If you can go places together, even better. And it looks like now is the time. So make time for this opportunity and this person, and enjoy the path ahead. I certainly hope this materializes for you, Scorpio. Let me know if it does, or what it meant to you. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Very best of luck with the week. Thanks as always for tuning in. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to your weekly reading. Let's do your 3x2 and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Sagittarius, here is your 3x2. It's a little bit more challenging, I have to say. There can be some changes, some decisions, and a few issues that you need to deal with. So I feel like it could be a little bit all over the place this week. We have the cross and mouse. This could be a bit of a heavy feeling, Sagittarius. Maybe you're feeling tired and drained by something, and you are also at a point where you need to make a decision. And we don't only see this through the cross, but we also see it through the road, and in fact the whole top row. The stork and road is very much a combination of moves and changes, and with the cross, it's obvious that you are at a juncture and you need to let go of something and make a sharp decision and move on. we see this sharpness with the scythe in the top row and in the middle. So with the cross, you need to be firm in your decision making, and with the road, there is definitely a change of direction. So it looks like you need to part ways with something, or be firm with a change that you need to make. It could be an inner change, an outer change. It's usually both. And to let go of something that just isn't working. It is also possible that you had tried to make something work, and at this point you just have to let it go because it's not really going anywhere. So this can feel a little bit difficult, maybe some regrets here, but it's still clear that the change is ahead, and this week could be the time when you make it. The Stork is a card of change. It's great for being active. So even if there are challenges, the blessing of the Stork is really to help clear the air. We have the Letter and Mouse, and this could be some difficult news. My feeling is that you're the one who makes the announcement or who shares the news, Sagittarius. Why? Because, well, you're the one who's making the decision, and we've got the Stork that kicks things off. So announce that you're letting something go, or you're ending something, or whatever is this decision for you. That is going to be key to move forward. The Cross and Stork is really adding to what we're saying. There is a change that at this point I don't think you can postpone anymore, Sagittarius. So lift yourself off, do what it takes to get things moving and to wrap things up and move on in a different direction. The Scythe and Letter is this combination of this news that comes out. Again, I feel that it's coming from you. It can feel unexpected to those around you, but I also feel with the Scythe that you don't want to postpone this anymore, a little bit like with the Cross and Stork. The Road and Mouse is about the path ahead, and it still is a bit bumpy. So there are, again, these issues that you're dealing with, Sagittarius, but it's really time to be firm with this and to make this change. And even if the change ahead is not so easy, it's still better than staying stuck in your current situation. The Stork with the Scythe and Mouse is actually a nice combination because it tells us that you really need to cut out the negativity from your life, Sagittarius. Really take a sword at it at this point. And the Cross with the Letter and Road is this news or this announcement that you need to share that you are making changes and moving on. So very much focused on changes. Very clear, very clear. Sharp changes, letting go, cutting things out, moving on. Now, what's interesting about the layout is that we don't have any card that points to whether this is a relationship or a job situation, or are you moving homes, what it is, that area of your life where you're making these changes. So you let me know in the comments, Sagittarius, what it's affecting for you. And maybe it affects your life as a whole, but usually it comes from some kind of area. And also, Sagittarius, do the work inside. Think about how you're going to move forward, and be clear about what is no longer working for you, and be firm at this point. I'm really interested to hear your feedback on this. I'm really interested to know how these cards resonated in your specific situation, if you're willing to share. Very best of luck with this, Sagittarius. Thank you as always for tuning in, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Capricorn, let's get into your weekly reading. Let's draw your 3x2 and see what is in store for you. Okay, Capricorn, it's a little bit of a handful here, but we do have the lovely tree at the end of the line, and actually the very beautiful sun. The sun is one of the brightest cards of the deck. We have the clouds, whip, cross, potentially the mountain. These are somewhat challenging cards. So it looks like there is something that comes out into the open. It could be an argument, a disagreement, a problem that comes up. But it's clear that it's going to be behind you and you're going to move on to someplace else. The sun is also lovely for an element of optimism as you deal with this. Now, the clouds with the tree can feel like you are stuck in a situation that is a bit difficult. You're also thinking things through. You could have a lot on your mind, and this could be part of the reason you could be getting away. Here's the sun and mountain. This is a lovely combination. I usually take it to mean something like a summer holiday or a vacation or getting away, enjoying time off. And it works really well with the clouds and tree because it sounds like you need to get things off your mind or to actually think about things, and maybe taking time out and going somewhere is going to help you with this. The clouds with the cross and mountain can mean some important decisions that you have to make at this point. It is also like I'm feeling like something is bottling up inside of you, where you're carrying some heavy emotions and maybe you're feeling stuck with them. But soon enough, Capricorn, you're going to be in a nice space of peace. So it sounds like you're waiting to get something off your back, something off your chest. You could also be making decisions in relation to this peaceful situation. If you're going somewhere, that's something that you also need to think through. Now, the whip is a challenging card. It points to disagreements, problems, you know, any kind of issue. So obviously the specifics are going to come down to your own unique situation. But we do have the sun and tree on either side of the whip. This tells us you're going to overcome this for sure. The sun is a very bright card and the tree is really peaceful, and we see it after the whip. And so I feel that you're going to move past this, throw it behind you and move on. It could still feel a bit heavy on you, but you'll definitely be past it. We have the clouds with the whip and mountain. This is quite a challenging triplet. We have the clouds with the whip. This could be a difficult conversation, a sharp disagreement with someone, or, you know, some difficult words exchanged, you know, like a tough, difficult conversation. And the mountain can be a card of obstacles. So it sounds like there's a blockage here and that it's really difficult to get through this situation. The mountain is also a place in another location, so again, you could be moving past this soon enough. The sun with the cross and tree is really nice for taking time out and for healing. I think the cross, you know, the cross is a layered card. It can be challenging and it can be positive, but in this context, because of the clouds, whip, and mountain, I think it's more about you, Capricorn, needing to take time out so you can heal and rest and, you know, dissolve this heavy issue that you are carrying. The clouds and sun is definitely the silver lining, and this is the sun starting to come out from behind the clouds. The cross and whip can point to arguments again, and also like some emotional heaviness, regret, pain is possible here. So it sounds like there's been a really difficult situation that you're going through, Capricorn, but the light is at the end of the tunnel. You're soon going to be on the other side of this, and you're going to be in a more peaceful place, which is represented by the mountain and tree. So this is a place, maybe a place where you have roots or connections, and it could be the place that you go to in order to chill and relax. Now, of course, not all of you Capricorns are going to be traveling, but the idea of the mountain and tree is definitely to distance yourself from this situation, move past it so that you can process it and come back to your inner peace. So a bit of a tough transition, but certainly at the end of this, Capricorn, where things are starting to turn around for you, where you are soon to be in another space where you can relax a little bit and recover from the challenges that we saw here. Now, I'm not seeing people cards, but usually these arguments come up with people. So it depends on your situation, you know, what the issue is, what the problem is, and how you're going to distance yourself from it. Let me know what you make of this, Capricorn. I certainly hope you will find that space of peace very soon, and you can move past the challenges and to sort of take stock of it all so you can turn the page on it. And let me know in what context this figure, if this was a personal relationship or a job situation or a home situation, leave me a thought as to how you resonated with these cards, and hopefully you did. Very best of luck with this, Capricorn. Thank you as always for tuning in, and until next time, take very good care of yourself. Hello Aquarius, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's draw your 3x2 and see what is in store for you this week. Okay, Aquarius, here is a lovely 3x2. We do have the mouse. The mouse is a little bit challenging, but everything else is looking really good. The rider and anchor is a strong message on the right-hand side especially, and this tells us of a completion or a conclusion or something or someone arriving. So it's lovely to sort of seal something off. The clover and anchor is very supportive of this too, a positive conclusion, some understanding here, and it can have a very strong and strengthening sense of stability. The message is also to stick with what you're doing, even though actually with the child and rider we have a new direction. So taking these together, it sounds like you are completing something, closing it off, and you're able to move in a new direction. So this can feel really, really fulfilling and satisfying of a job well done. The clover with the lily and rider tells us that you are on the right track and you are pursuing big objectives that align with your life path. So keep doing what you're doing. It's definitely the right thing for you. The child with the mouse and anchor, a little bit challenging here because of the mouse. The new beginning can feel a bit bumpy, or it's not totally smooth, but the anchor is easily overcoming of the mouse. So stick with what you're doing, even if the new beginning is a little bit difficult or sticky. You'll soon find your path with it, as we see with the rider and anchor. Earlier, we have the clover and child, a very beautiful message for a new beginning, definitely a message that encourages you to take these first steps. The lily and mouse can feel like you're a bit tired and drained. It can be a health kind of combination. And so maybe you're taking a step back here, needing to rest from something that you had been through or had been working on. And again, the rider and anchor points to a positive conclusion. I would say, Aquarius, that even if this is a bit difficult, don't stop just yet. Keep moving forward so that you're finishing it, and it looks like you're close to the finishing line and you're able to turn the page soon enough. So hang in there, a bit more discipline, and you'll soon turn the page on this. The clover with the mouse and rider can feel like things are slower or dragging, but that's okay. You're still on the right track. Keep moving forward. And the child with the lily and anchor is a beautiful new chapter, and definitely a sense of strength and support in your career, in your life path. So really nice cards, Aquarius. It looks like you're at the tail end of something. Keep on it until you finish it, and then move on to a new chapter. And this is a great opportunity for wrapping something up and recovering. And it is also a nice confirmation that you're on the right track, pursuing some positive objectives, obviously with some good results. Now the cards are flexible. We're not really seeing relationships. The lily is a card of career. It's more generally also a card of life path. So it can affect your work and your bigger goals, but it can affect your lifestyle as a whole. Not really seeing people cards. The rider can be a person, like there's often a person represented on it. It's typically a messenger or a helpful person, but it's typically neutral. But assuming it is a person, and assuming regardless of the rider that the layout applies on a relationship, it's definitely a supportive relationship. It has longevity, stability, and trust. The mouse can cause a bit of issues here, but the rider and anchor on the other side is very supportive. It could be a new relationship or a new phase in an existing relationship. So lovely cards regardless of the context. You let me know, Aquarius, in what area you feel these cards resonated for you, what this change or conclusion and new beginning is about. As always, I look forward to your thoughts and feedback. Thank you for tuning in, Aquarius. Very best of luck with the week. And until next time, take very good care of yourself. Okay, Pisces, let's get into your weekly reading. Let's draw this 3x2 and see what is in store for you. Okay, Pisces, look at this. This is such a powerful combination with the scythe and coffin. This is a very final ending. And then we have a relationship that is meant to be, or that's someone important, Earlier we have the letter and lily. This is sort of all over the place. Let's read the combinations in turn. First, we have the letter and woman, which points to contact and communication with someone. So this is a neutral combination. It doesn't tell us what the news is or what it's like and who this person is, so it's going to depend on your situation. The lily and cross, this is an important decision that affects your life or your career and your lifestyle as a whole. And this news ties into it. Perhaps there is some very important news that comes through that affects how you perceive your path forward. Who the woman is, like I said, is flexible, but it certainly seems to, the news in relation to this woman certainly affects you in a significant way. It sounds like you're going to need to make a decision about your life as a whole. We have the letter, scythe, and cross at the top. This could be some breaking news or some important news or sudden news. And again, the cross can bring up this element of heaviness and importance. So how you respond to this news, it sounds like there's quite a lot of responsibility here. And like we saw with the corners, it affects your life as a whole. In the bottom row, we have the lily with the coffin and woman. This is definitely the end of a phase that affects this person. It can be a health issue, I have to say. Maybe someone in your life has a health issue, and that could be a bit scary, and you need to attend to this. Otherwise, this is looking like a very significant phase that is coming to an end. And this affects your path forward, Pisces. This affects your connection with this person. It affects your life as a whole and how you move forward. The letter and lilies, I would think it's something a bit more formal. It doesn't have to be, but it can be. So again, this important news. The scythe and coffin is a pretty final ending here. This is the combination that people read as the death combination. Of course, I don't read it this way because it's kind of silly for just two cards and without proper context. But it is very much a very final ending and like a really hard line that is being drawn. So an important phase is really coming to a close this week, or at least it begins to for you, Pisces. The cross and woman is an important relationship in your life. Who this woman is specifically, and you know, it could be a man. It's flexible. Who this person is flexible. It depends on your situation, but the cross suggests a couple of things. First, that it's an important relationship, and also that you might have some responsibilities towards this person. It can have a bit of a burden, but I think that with the lily and the ending cards, it's a bit more than just something heavy or difficult. It is a significant change, and it has quite a lot of impact on your life. The lily with the scythe and woman, this could be a radical change in a relationship. I have to add at this point, Pisces, that you could be parting with someone. You could be breaking up with someone or leaving someone. Or what we saw earlier, that there is a significant life change that is possible. Either this woman and it impacts you, or the other way around. The letter with the coffin and cross is definitely news of an ending. This is really bringing a phase to a close, and the decisions that come to move forward, and you know, the connection here in relation to this situation. So it's a big deal. This reading is a big deal. There's a big change. There's big stuff happening. It seems to involve a person and some communications that I would say are formal. But there's a big decision here in terms of closing this off, supporting this person, or being supported by her in this big change. It's potentially a life change. In terms of a personal relationship, it could be a break off, like I said, and this could be a time, Pisces, where you just need to draw a hard line with someone because it's getting a bit heavy. Now, what's interesting is that the cross and woman are on the right-hand side, whereas it's the scythe and coffin that are in the middle. Still, these are a really powerful pair, very clear, sharp ending. And so moving forward, there can be a bit of a burden, a bit of heaviness with this person moving forward. So there's a very clear restructuring, a very clear change. a significant ending, an important relationship, important news across the board. Now this can affect your life as a whole or a specific area. If we're looking at your career, you could be making a big change here. You could be moving on from someone or getting the support of someone in this big change. In terms of a relationship, I think I just mentioned that it's a break off, and I did mention the possibility of health being an issue. This could be possibly a bit more alarming, God forbid, Pisces, but certainly with the cross and woman, it's important to be supportive here. So a big deal of a week. I certainly look forward to your thoughts on this, Pisces. Of course, sometimes cards can be a bit more dramatic than reality, but we do have a few of them here that are quite a handful, so let me know how they resonated with you. Thank you as always for tuning in. Very best of luck with this, Pisces. Again, please leave me a thought or two, and until next time, take very good care of yourself.